Bryce Harper called out the Phillies and the fact that they need to start making trades as soon as possible, but then the Phillies media not only went off on him, but his own manager did as well. His manager basically said that he's playing GM and he has no idea what he's talking about. I cannot believe that happened. The Guardians have a 6'6" flame-throwing demon who also throws from the side, and he has 8 strikeouts his last 2 2/3. Did that just unlock the Quan Clase trade again? But instead of Clase, it's now going to be Cade Smith. Wait until you hear the sound of this home run from Yordan Alvarez. Shane Bieber walked 6 dudes in 1 inning, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. left early. Like, is the J season over? Tatis had 5 hits in 1 game. Ohtani had another home run. There was an insane play in the Marlins game to help preserve a no-hitter, and oh no. No. Curtis Mead, the initial x-rays were wrong. He could be out for the year. So we'll get into all of that and more in today's recap. If you've never watched these videos, my name's Fuzzy. I recap every baseball game and every news story every single day, so you never have to miss out. If that sounds cool, stick around, hit that like and subscribe, and also don't forget to use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. Guys, this might be the worst baseball luck I've ever seen when it comes to what happened directly after a trade. So Curtis Mead, it was reported that the x-rays were negative. He was only going to be missing a few days with a wrist contusion. Those initial x-rays were wrong. Mead only made it 2 plate appearances with his brand new team, the Red Sox. He's now going to be missing the next 4 to 6 weeks. If it's 4 weeks, he'll be back in mid-September. If it's 6 weeks, he might not be back until October. There's a chance that Mead could be missing the rest of the year if the Red Sox don't make the playoffs. To add insult to injury, no pun intended, so the new fastest man in baseball, Henry Bolte, he drove in a run on an RBI single, and then Jake Bennett, who's still out there in the 7th, I respect it, he served up a home run to Brian Serven. That's a 2-run home run, his first home run in 4 years. Lawrence Butler, he got one past Cedar Rafaela, and if Rafaela can't catch that, absolutely no one can. That's an RBI double, and that's a clutch RBI double because Connor Wong, he lifted out a 2-run home run for his 2nd of the year. It's just that the A's, they were able to hold on. Bolte made a catch at the wall, and Hogan Harris, he picked up his 9th save. Gage Jump, who started that game, he had 19 whiffs. He finally picked up a W. It's been over a month since he's done this. He went 6 scoreless with 7 strikeouts. I need the A's to spend $100 million on pitchers this next offseason, if we even have an offseason, and they just have to stay healthy because they can be so good, but yeah, I feel bad for Red Sox fans. You guys remember yesterday we sarcastically talked about the Angels being in tank mode? Well, watch this clip and tell me they're not actually trying to tank.
Yordan Alvarez.
Yordan Alvarez crushes one high and deep. Forget about it.
Did you hear the sound of that Yordan Alvarez home run? Now, I get it. It's the first inning. You got to pitch to him, but maybe you don't because Yordan, he has 35 home runs. And we'll talk about the rest of his stats in a second because the RBI machine, Vaughn Grissom, he's got a bunch of RBIs over the last month, essentially averaging 1 RBI per game over the last 30-ish games. Christian Walker, this ball is way out. His 21st home run is a no doubt perfect home run against Reed Detmers, who's been almost unhittable in the second half, but he did allow 2 home runs. The Angels, they tied it again. Jorge Soler roped an RBI double, but I'm going to quickly breeze through it because what are they doing? Why would they pitch to the left-handed Miguel Cabrera? That's how historically good Yordan has been this year and over his career. That is a go-ahead RBI double. Why pitch to him? Load the bases up. He's batting .325 with 35 home runs, 80 RBIs, and an insane 201 OPS plus. If someone did that over a full season, that would be elite. But he's doing it before August. Josh Hader, he picked up his 14th save of the season as the Astros, they're creeping back into it. They're 1 game back of a wild card spot. Halos, what are you doing pitching to him in that moment? The Twins, they're now a half game back of the wild card. Josh Bell, he laced an RBI, so he has 63 RBIs. The Royals, they ended up scoring on a double steal. Lane Thomas, he's safe at second base. Josh Rojas, he's in there at home. And Salvador Perez, he had a parachute of a base hit fall in for an RBI single. So it's still a quality start for Taj Bradley, who ended his night with 10 strikeouts. So another double-digit strikeout and a quality start for Taj. He has 140 strikeouts and 120 innings. And I haven't done this yet this year. I think I'm going to go sounds of the game for this grab in left field.
Well, Keyshaw hits it to left, and Collins dives! He got it!
Isaac Collins, he saved the game momentarily, but all he did was extend the inevitable. Royce with a rocket off the wall for a rare walk-off triple. Those don't usually happen because usually the game ends before you can get to 3 bases. The GM of the Twins, Jeremy Zoll, he said that their spring training goal of being in meaningful games in September, it's coming to fruition. So he says the clear focus is on adding to the bullpen, but now Buxton is out with a hip issue. So You sure about that? You sure you should be buyers? Yo, this is one of the craziest sequences you're going to see all year. So Manzardo, he's up against Chase Burns with the bases loaded. And Manzo, he said that he got hit, but the Reds, they went to replay and they said, nah, Manzardo, you're not going to cheese us. Get back in there and roll into a double play like a good boy. Or I can't remember if there was 1 or 2 outs, but Manzardo said, okay, I'll get back in there. And he blasted off for a grand slam against Chase Burns. That's his 12th home run and first career grand slam. We have another web gem that made me audibly say, wow. The first one was that Isaac Collins play. Ellie, he got one into the gap, but then the speedster, Speedy Petey, he cut it off. And he launched a hose piece to get Ellie to the Cruz at second base. I was admiring that, just like Sal Stewart was admiring this swing, his 22nd home run, an elevated cutter to Sal Stewart. Yeah, just not a great idea, and now Sal is tying it later in the game. Sal Stewart roped a 2 RBI base knock. He has 79 RBIs, and the second RBI was all Ellie de la Cruz. How do you score on that? It didn't even get through, and he scored from first base. He is a game changer. He's got a cheat code built in. I mean, that speed is just ridiculous with those long limbs. Chase the Lauder. Okay, all right, the game is tied. He did his job perfectly. He went the other way. Brian Rocchio, he's not trying to do too much. He also did his job, not just with the stick. Look at the defense. And also, shout out to Kyle Manzardo for the pick at first base. He stole Sal Stewart's third base, and then he dropped down a go-ahead RBI sac bunt. So the Guardians, they get the lead, and Cade Smith, this is crazy to me. They lose Emmanuel Clase, the first human in history to be born without a brain, and he was also a historic closing pitcher. Cade Smith steps in, and he's the first guy in baseball to 30 saves. Angel Martinez with the web gem to book it, so that's a walk-off web gem. They finally snapped their 5-game losing streak. Now, one more quick note about that game. I think that Cade Smith might actually get traded because he's been awesome. Kwan's been hitting better. They might have a chance at redoing that historic Clase trade. The Guardians, they have another opportunity to trade a top 3 reliever and that Gold Glove on-base machine in Kwan. Why? This dude, this 6'6" sidearm flamethrower by the name of Franco Aleman. He struck out 5 in a row in that last game. He has 8 strikeouts his last 2 2/3. Let me repeat that. 8 strikeouts his last 2 2/3. And then the former mega prospect Daniel Espino, he had 3 strikeouts in game 2. Espino, Aleman, they can be dogs in this bullpen. Go get some big bats for Smith and Kwan. I'm going to miss Kwan, but go get a big power bat and then call up Ralphie Velasquez. Let's go for it. Game 2 of this Reds-Guardians doubleheader ended in the exact same fashion, a walk-off web gem. Who did it, though? JJ. Mr. Have Yourself a Day. Had himself a day. That's his 18th home run. This is kind of coming out of nowhere because JJ, he was terrible last year, but he did show some extra base hit prowess. I think it was 2 years ago with the A's. Yeah, that was all the Red staff needed because it was a bullpen day. Ivan Johnson, look at the reaction time on the scorcher. That was a watch your lips moment, and he made the play. We're going all the way to the 9th inning. Dane Myers. This guy just does not care. Maybe he just understands his calling card is his defense. He's not going to be a great bat, so I guess you almost have to respect the fact that he does not care about his safety. He's going to barrel into walls any chance he gets as he catches it, and he gives Emilio Pagan his 11th save. The Reds, they spoiled history from Gavin Williams, the big rig. He had 12 strikeouts, which means that he has 4 consecutive games with 11 strikeouts or more. He's the second pitcher since 1900. It's been 126 years that a pitcher has gone 4 consecutive starts with 10 or more strikeouts with 1 walk or fewer. Gavin Williams is turning into a monster. We have even more pitching history coming up, but in the worst way possible. Former guard dog Shane Bieber walked 6 in the first inning. That is both a Jays pitching record and Nationals offensive record for most walks in one single frame. Kyber Ruiz took a walk with the bases loaded, same with Dalen Lyle. Then after a Nazem Nunez sac fly, Jacob Young with the 3rd bases loaded walk of the inning. Shane almost has a 6 ERA this year. He's been buns. Luis Garcia Jr. has been a man amongst boys over the last, month and a half, 2 months. He's up to 22 home runs on the season. He has 3 consecutive games with 2 base hits. So he's got 22 home runs, 73 RBIs. Dylan Cruz, I feel like him breaking out over the last 2 or 3 weeks is a big reason why they moved on from a Curtis Mead because he's doing it. He's barely been getting on base since getting called up, but he's played in 174 games. He very quietly has 22 home runs and 35 stolen bases in those 174. And again, he's barely been on base, so that is an insane talent. He's very quick. He's got a great defensive skill set as well. Kazuma Okamoto, there's a couple different things on this swing. So he's up to 24 home runs that extends his rookie Japanese record, but he also ties the Blue Jays rookie franchise record with Eric Hinsky with those 24. George Springer, Oh man, this is off of Gus Varland, the brother of Louis Varland. They exchanged lineup cards at the beginning of this game. It was a really tender moment, but yeah, that is a 3-run bomb from George Springer, his 12th of the season. That made it feel closer. It wasn't very close. Clayton Beeter, he has 11 saves. Cavalli had another quality start, and the Nationals are 1 game back of the wild card. The Blue Jays are 10 games under, and Vladdy, he left with a health issue. What a beaut of a play from Jazz Chisholm Jr. to kickstart this Yankees game in the South Side against the White Sox. Anthony Volpe, wait, is this ball leaving? Tristan Peters, he is a defensive stud. He got there, but it bounced in and out of his glove. I think that would have actually left, so at least he kept it in. That's Volpe's 3rd double in the last 3 games. Matt Schumann, another RBI double for the Yankees, but this one is a 2-run double, and he's up to an 880 OPS with runners in scoring position. Gerrit Cole, you guys got to watch this if you're not. So there was a sky-high pop-up right around the mound, and Gerrit Cole and Wellesley, they were going for it, and look at Gerrit Cole's reaction. He said, pass interference. I thought that was fun. Gerrit, he ended up striking out 7 guys. That's the 185th time he's done that. He breezed through 6 scoreless, no walks, and I need him to get to 3,000 strikeouts. He's going to be 36 years old. He's at 2,300 and something strikeouts right now, so it's going to be tough, but he can get there. Chase Meidroth. Uh-oh. Are the Yankees about to blow a game? Bednar, he's looked awesome as of late. He had a 22-something shutout streak coming into this appearance, but that's a 2-run home run, and Bednar still got it done, so he's got 22 saves. They hand the White Sox their 2nd L in a row. The Yankees, they're 15 games over 500. The White Sox, they're 1.5 game ahead in the Central, and they're the only team in the entire division with a positive run differential. I thought that was kind of a crazy fact. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Ohtani both had monster days, but for one of them, it didn't mean anything because their team still lost. It can't be the Padres, right? Luis Campusano, he kept it fair down the line, so that is an RBI 2-bagger. Fernando Tatis, this was his first of 5 base hits, an RBI single, but Campy, he's out at home. That ends a rally. Willie Castro, I mean, this was a terrible, no good, horrible pitch out the hand of Michael King, and he swatted it for his 11th home run. McCarthy, he actually tied it, and Mickey Moniak put his team out in front, a 2-run home run. He's from Carlsbad. Isn't Carlsbad pretty close to San Diego, like 35 miles or some, whatever, but Moniak has 17 home runs. I need him to get traded. We have some weirdness in the 4th inning. So Xander Bogaerts, he wanted an ABS challenge on a ball that was 4 inches down, and that's not even me being hyperbolic. That was 4.1 inches down, but the umpire said, no, you got help from your dugout. I'm not going to let you challenge. What in the world are we doing? So now this is happening. Stammen, I agree that it was on the bobble, but Stammen wasn't even allowed to replay. So Xander's not allowed to use the ABS. They're not allowing guys to replay. I mean, I probably would have gotten ejected as well because you're just taking the power out of the hands of the players and the coaching staff that actually matters. Umpires, when they go on a power trip, it bothers me so much. Manny, okay, the Padres, they're getting back into it. Nando scored. Now, Nando's scoring even more. This was an RBI knock, his 2nd of the day. Ezekiel Tovar and the Rockies, they're coming back. This is a crazy, crazy, crazy game. So that is an RBI double down the line. Mickey Moniak with an RBI double down the left field line as well. The Rockies, they're up by 2. Oh my, this game will not stop. Oh, what is going on? Merrill with an RBI. And then Willie Castro gave them a run on a silver platter, and he botches it. If you played MLB The Show, you know what I'm saying. But then Tovar, the Rockies are up again on a free pass, a bases-loaded walk. But back to the Padres. Manny Machado was involved in another scoring play, a game-tying RBI double. The ball scooted away, so a 2nd run scored. And we have madness. Merrill madness. He stole 2nd base. The ball got past everyone, so he's at 3rd. And Xander Bogaerts, he kept his approach simple. He just wanted to make contact and put the ball in the air. That is a walk-off sac fly. The Padres have won 4 games in a row. I've been doing recap a long time. That was one of the more roller coaster back and forth, just nightmare for both teams that I've ever seen. The Padres won, so according to my inference a few moments ago, that means the Dodgers lost, right? I mean, maybe. Ohtani, that's his 10th leadoff home run of the year. He's up to 23, and he's still dealing with that bad knee, and he has a bicep issue now. I don't know if Ohtani is going to pitch for the rest of the year. It doesn't sound like he's going to be on the rubber anytime soon. Cal. Yes, the big dumper. For the first time in months, it feels like. Cal Raleigh, he produced a 6-swing that was almost 80 miles an hour on that swing, and then J-Rod, he went yard as well. This has to be maybe the first time all year, 2nd or 3rd, that Cal and J-Rod went yard in the same game. It's been ages. J-Rod's up to 16 on the year. Is that who I think it is? Rob Refsnyder, the lefty masher. He finally mashed one. Welcome back. This is his first game in the big leagues in over a month. That's a 2-run home run, his 4th of the season. Tommy Edman. and Ohtani. They're getting their squad back into it. So Edman, he split a gap for an RBI double. Then Ohtani, he just flips something into center field, and that's an RBI single, but it should have been two. Kyle Tucker, he was given the wave. He stopped at third for some reason, and that cost him a run because Teoscar struck right out. All good, though. You're lucky Max Muncy bailed you out, Tucker, for his 21st home run. I lied. The Dodgers did, in fact, win, as Muncy, he tied Eric Karros for the most home runs ever hit in Dodger Stadium. And I lied again. Dominic Canzone. I mean, why is J-Rowe still out there? Justin Robleski, what is that, his 4th home run given up on the afternoon? What an absolute bomb from Dominic Canzone. But that wasn't even his best moment of the night. Take it away, Dom.
In scoring position.
Drilled out to center. Does he have another? Whoa!
That right there was one of the most disrespectful pimp jobs I have ever seen, but he earned it. Dom Canzone with 2 lefty-lefty tanks. He's up to 18 home runs and a 145 WRC+. Plus, that is the 5th Mariner home run of the night, and imagine if they just kept on doing that and they have fully woken up. Ohtani, are we doing this Rockies Padres game 2.0? It's now a 1-run ball game because it's an RBI double, but he ended up at third base. Mookie rolled over. I'm not a liar. Andres Munoz, he has 19 saves. This is kind of a Tungsten O'Doyle Angels game from back in the day where Ohtani, he got on base 4 times. He had a home run, an RBI double. He was on third base with the tying run, and his team still lost. Get the popcorn bucket, ladies and gentlemen. No, not the Dune popcorn bucket if you are a sicko and you kept that. But we have a game with 30 base hits between both teams coming up. There were some RBI outs after that. Corbin Carroll, he had an RBI single thanks to Brandon Lau just flat out missing it. And Tim Tawa, he motored all the way home and he charged into home plate. Arenado, he got one through a hole as well. So that's an RBI single. And oh my, Lau, he booted another baseball. Now, Lau, he's made a ton of strides this year defensively, but he looked like old school Brandon Lau in this one. Moreno had an RBI fielder's choice, so it's now a 6-0 lead. And by the way, Moreno, he's gotten on base 44 starts in a row. That actually ties Corbin Carroll for the Snakes franchise record. Here comes the Pirates. This is a big series because the wild card is on the line. Ryan O'Hearn, that's an RBI extra base hit. Endy Rodriguez, he is a cheat code catcher. He stole a bag right after this RBI single. He's finally back from the IL. The Big Bear, Marcell Ozuna. This is an RBI single. And Brandon Lau, we've already seen him allow 2 runs because of his shoddy defense. He got both back. A 2-run home run for his 22nd home run of the season. And then Brian Reynolds. What is going on with these last few games? These are insane. Brian Reynolds, he stepped in. He goes back-to-back for his 15th. Get Paul Sewald out of the closing spot. He has a 5.5 ERA. After that, each team, they traded terrible plays in extra innings. So Pittsburgh, they bobbled a double play in the top of the 10th. And then the Diamondbacks, Tyler Locklear, he bobbled what could have been an out at home. So it's back to being a tie game. James McCann, on his 4th base hit of the afternoon, he put the Snakes in front, and rookie Gerardo Carrillo, he locked it down. He went the final 2 frames, no base hits, 3 strikeouts. He picked up his first career win. The Diamondbacks are now in the wild card. The Pirates have been kicked out again. Feast your eyes on Kyle Stowers feasting on one of the worst pitches you will ever see. We're going to talk about that Bryce Harper drama with his own manager in a second, but that is Kyle Stowers' 14th home run. That was one of the fattest meatballs right down the middle I've ever seen. Now, Nola, he did actually settle in after that. There was nothing allowed for either team. Sandy Alcantara, he took a no-no into the 5th inning, and every no-no or perfect game, there's always a 10 out of 10 play to preserve it. Jacob Marcy would have had one of those 10 out of 10 web gems to preserve it. Just unfortunately, the former Marlin, Brian De La Cruz, he broke the no-hitter in the 5th inning. Sandy still went on to throw 7 shutty, and he secured a Miami Marlins record. This is his 111th quality start. That's the most ever by a Marlin. Pete Fairbanks got bailed by one of the worst at-bats of the entire season for the Phillies. Edmundo Sosa swung at a ball in the mesosphere, so I almost said Pete Fairbanks. Wow. So Pete Fairbanks now has 14 saves, and we're not done with the Phillies because Bryce Harper said that the Phillies need help. And a lot of other non-Phillies fans are saying that this is just payback for Dave Dombrowski talking out of the side of his mouth before the season, essentially saying that Bryce Harper is not elite anymore. Harper heard it. He wore a sweater that said not elite, and I don't see where Bryce Harper's wrong because the Phillies have 7 guys who are getting everyday reps who have an 80 OPS plus or worse. They're 20% worse than average or even worse than that. And on top of that, Trey Turner and Alec Boehm, they have negative 15 outs above average combined on the left side, so they have bricks for hands. Then Don Mattingly, he got involved, and this is, I still, looking at this quote. It's looking back at me from my screen, right? I cannot believe that this isn't AI. This was actually something that was said about a superstar and face of the franchise like Bryce Harper. So look at this from Don Mattingly. He essentially said that players, they like to play GM and it's easy to spend other people's money, and that Bryce is just too selfish or delusional to not realize, I'm paraphrasing and putting words in his mouth, but that's how I took it, that Bryce is too far gone and wants to play GM so bad that he's not being realistic about how Dave Dombrowski's job is not just for 2026, but for beyond as well. So he's got to take care of that. Just an absolutely insane thing to say. And the Phillies media are kind of saying, like, what is this dude talking about? He's been bad in July. Okay, a bad 2 or 3 week stretch means that your face of the franchise can't just publicly say that, hey, we could use some help. I mean, Aaron Judge has told Brian Cashman to his face that they should focus on RBIs and stuff like that. When you're a superstar player getting paid superstar money, yeah, you're allowed to have a say or two about what the team should do, especially when they're second to last in on-base percentage as a lineup. He's right. Even though he's right, some Phillies fans are saying, yes, he's not wrong, but he's not the guy who should be saying that. No guy should be saying that because you're calling your teammates out. I know it's technically not his job. He's a first baseman for the Phillies, but yeah, if you're a superstar player, you should be holding your front office accountable. I mean, what's wrong with that? You remember that one meme from Colin Cowherd where he says, LeBron, you can go or something like that because Ben Simmons is here? Well, Tigers fans, you can let Scooble go. You can trade him because Troy Melton is here. Now, before that, Colt Keith, he's been awesome lately. He had 2 base hits and 2 walks, so on base 4 separate times. This was a 2-run, 3-bagger. Eduardo Valencia, he's about to get all the reps because Jake Rogers, he's been DFA'd. He's gone. Just like this baseball, that's his 3rd home run in his first, 15, 16 at-bats. Gleyber Torres, he had a monster game. A 5 RBI eruption. So he had a 2 RBI double, and then later he had a 2-run home run for his 5th of the year. I feel like now is the perfect time to trade a Scooble and a Gleyber Torres and really just retool for the future because, again, you're going to see Melton and you still have young guys like a Keith waking up and Kevin McGonigal and Riley Green and guys like that. I mean, look at McGonigal. He got on base a couple times. No, more than a couple. He scored 4 times. This was an RBI base hit. Eduardo Valencia, I know this was off a positional player, but he has 4 home runs in his first 17 at-bats. So the Tigers, they won huge. Melton was melting people again. I'm always going to use that pun because he's been doing that. He's only allowed 21 hits over his last 7 starts. That's an average of 3 per game. He allowed 3 base hits and 7 shutout. His ERA is down to 1.75, and the cutter has literally been unhittable. It has a 0.98 batting average against it. Please, Framber, get it together because Framber Valdez, when he's right, with the Casey Mize, a Troy Melton, a kid named Jake Miller, who I really believe in, he's coming up through the system. I don't know if Mize is actually going to stay because he's also a free agent, but bring back Mize because he's going to be cheaper. He doesn't have that health history, and Troy Melton, he can carry you. He really can. I would make the trade. Listen, I know it's going to sting and it's going to hurt because you probably should have extended him a few years ago. At this present moment, he's not coming back unless there's a 4 at the first number. I think he's going to try and get $400 million on a shorter contract. That's not happening. So get a mega trade while you can. We have a rare game where every single starter in a lineup got on base with a base hit. So Jackson Chourio, he got the scoring starter for Milwaukee with an RBI single. Cooper Pratt, he somehow hit a frisbee pitch 14 feet outside and got it to land safely for another RBI single. 2 bags Terang. No, this was not a 2-bagger, not a double, but 2 runs did score. So Bryce Terang, he drives in 2. More offense, but listen to this. Logan Henderson, the Brewers, they just do this. Logan Henderson, he has now allowed 3 or fewer runs in 14 consecutive starts to begin his career. He only allowed 2 base hits over 5 2/3 with 7 strikeouts. He's down to a 2.3 ERA for his career. It's just the Brewers, the Rays, the Guardians, they do this every single year. Luis Lara, this kid is an electric factory, a 2-run triple. He has 8 RBIs over his last 4 games. And for his season, he has 7 walks to 6 strikeouts in his first 15 games. Bryce Eldridge, really the only positive highlight for Giants fans all night. That's his 11th home run of the year. The Giants, yeah, they lose again, and they also lost Casey Schmidt for maybe the rest of the year. Just like Shea, he tore his knee and his meniscus. The Brewers, they've outscored their opponents by 145 runs, and they now have 67 wins. I cannot believe that this is a real sentence, but the Cardinals are under 500. So it all started because Ian Happ, he laced an RBI double that ended up being a 2-run double, and that started the embarrassing day at the office for St. Louis as that was off of Jordan Walker's glove. Seiya Suzuki, Yeah, the Cubs, they teed off for 17 base hits. They scored 10 without a single home run. That was a double from Seiya. Nico Horner, he had 2 more RBIs after a huge 4 RBI game. Seiya, he's back up again. He stuck his bat out. That's an RBI single. Carson Kelly, his RBI knock got it to a 10 spot. And again, they scored double digits with 17 base hits. Bregman, he tied a career high with 7 hits over his last 2 games. Mason Wynn, similar to that last game, there was really only one highlight for one team. I had to show this for my Cardinals fans. That's 3 straight games with 2 base hits, which is cool. Being under 500 is not cool. They're 25 and 35 over the last 60 games. The Cardinals, I don't think they have the pitching staff. They got to reset. They got to start making trades, at least to me. If you're a Cardinals fan, do you agree with that, or do you want to hold hope? Let me know. I'm going to skip a few sac flies because we have mayhem. Cedric Mullins, he's up with a few runners on. Wins. There's some catcher's interference, so Austin Wynns got called for catcher's interference. The bases are now loaded because the Tampa Bay Rays rejected the free run. A run would have scored, but they chose to not take the result of Mullins being out. Instead, they put Mullins at first base, so they load the bases, they take the run back. Simpson, he's up with the bases loaded, and that's smart because he's so fast, he's not going to... Oh my God, he did roll into a double play. A 1-2-3 double play. The odds of that happening must have been close to 0. Junior Caminero. Whoa, he got an RBI triple past Wyatt Langford. That is only his 2nd career triple, but look at the fist pump. I'd be pumped up too. He got his team within 1. And I gotta show a big fly because we've skipped a few sac flies. Austin Wynns with his first home run of the season. Berger, he then beat Chandler Simpson to the bag on a belly flop. That is Chandler Simpson not being able to beat out a double play or that infield single. It's Chandler Simpson. A lot of people say he's unethical. There he was. Evan Carter, he had an RBI single off of Craig Kimbrell. He then stole second base, so he's trying to wake up the dual threat side. Jacob Latz, the buzzsaw we call him. He has 21 saves. The Rangers, they win again. And there we have it, another recap in the books. That was a big boy recap. So if you guys could do me a favor, not only leave a like and subscribe on this channel, but head on over to my editor's channel, Pesky Talk. He's been doing a wonderful job this year. Tell him thank you and hit him with a subscribe as well. Enjoy the Web Gems. See you tomorrow.
Into center field, Julio is in.
Here's a liner down the left field line. Over is Justin Dean. Slides and makes a beautiful catch.
It sends this to center. Barossa. What a great catch!
Grounded and grabbed there by Jazz. And he fires to Goldschmidt.
Gets the pop-up off the bat of Volpe. Charging in is Antonacci, but how about that?
Sosa lines at the third. Diving Graham!
Coming in, he said, "You're up 7th in the inning."
Yeah, right on cue.
Weak sauce, left field, long run.